Am I wrong for letting my brother expose my racist stepmother? To make a long story short, my father is white and my mother black. My father had an affair, and they got divorced. My father married his affair partner. She has 2 daughters. She was also a massive racist. We cut contact with him, but recently he has been trying to earn our trust back. My eldest brother, Jacob, 17, outright refuses to speak to or even acknowledge the existence of my dad and our half-brother. My other brother and I have been slowly getting to know our father again. Our mum is very supportive of this, but she says that if we don't want to speak with him anymore, we won't have to. Jacob is very skeptical that our step family had changed at all. Our stepmother took this as a threat and said that our mother was poisoning us against them and that she was racist towards them because they are white. She put it all over Facebook and people started bombarding my mum with messages calling her cruel and a witch. For the sake of my dad's reputation, he begged my mother to not tell anybody about the affairs. Yes, multiple. Because my mother is a sweet loving soul, she didn't tell anyone. These messages, as well as she tried to hide it, hurt her very much. So, Jacob put every screenshot, every audio recording, every message the 3 of us had of stepmother and her goblins being racist towards me or my siblings were put together in a file and published into my Facebook. He took it down an hour later, but the damage had been done. Everyone for both sides of my family saw what kind of woman she really was. I thought he was compiling it because he has told me before that I'm too young and shouldn't have that kind of thing on my phone because it could seriously hurt me. Edit. It's a shared sibling Facebook account. Now, she is saying that it's my fault for not stopping him when I knew what he was like. My dad, from what both he and her said, has not been in contact with my stepmother since they had a massive argument 2 weeks ago. He is staying at a home about 20 minutes walk from ours. He has been calling a lot, apologizing over and over again for her actions. Edit to at, my dad is most definitely getting a divorce. Edit to at, my dad was not defending her. Am I wrong for ruining my ex's career? Early this year, I, male 24, broke up with my ex Chris. We dated for 2 months after being set up by my sil. We broke up because Chris refused to miss a party to drive me to the hospital after I had an allergic reaction. Who put strawberries in oatmeal cookies? I ended up calling 999 and spent the night on an IV. My sister-in-law begged me not to tell my family what Chris did as he is her work bestie. They're both realtors and didn't want my brother to be mad at him. I agreed because my family would freak the F out. I told my friends who were relieved he was out of my life. We've had nothing to do with each other since breakup. I have been preparing a thesis project and emailed a couple of art historians and professors for some advice. I connected with an art dealer called Derek who had some pieces that I could study. He said he would be in my city for work, so we met up for socially distanced coffee. That was our first date really, as we hit it off amazingly. Our relationship has progressed quickly and seriously. D lives 3 hours away and decided that he wants to move here so we can settle together. This is where it gets crap. Derek's wealthy as a result of a successful career and his family. I didn't realize how wealthy he was until all this kicked off. I met with my brother and sister-in-law for lunch and sister-in-law excitedly told us that Chris has bagged a mysterious client who was looking at pricey houses. It wasn't until she started to mention specifics did I realize she was talking about D. I hadn't told D about Chris, except that I had a bad relationship before I met him. I did tell him that my sister-in-law worked for a good agency. Derek came into town last weekend very excited that his realtor had found him some properties that we could go together to look at. We were sitting on the couch and he kept talking about his realtor Chris, and I panicked and spilled everything. Derek was horrified and broke his partnership with Chris over email, which horrified me because sister-in-law had gone on about how a sale this big could put them on the map. Derek found another agency and picked a house pretty quickly during the week, and I thought I had gotten away with it until we met for dinner and my parents congratulated D on his new home. Sister-in-law asked where it is and obviously recognized the area. She straight up asks D if he had been working with her agency. He says he was, until he found out what Chris did to me. Cue everyone asking what Chris did to me, and my sister-in-law screaming at me for ruining Chris' career. Then my brother screamed at sister-in-law for being friends with Chris. My family plus most friends are on my side, but sister-in-law plus her friends and Chris think it's petty on my part for ruining this sale, when I have my life sorted with a sugar daddy. I feel I'm wrong, because I didn't exactly stop Derek from dropping Chris, and shouldn't have mentioned sister-in-law's agency. D thinks sister-in-law and Chris are psycho. My brother is in a bad way about this, and is staying at my parents' house. Edit. Change Q to Q. Edit. Chris made the cookies. Am I wrong for telling my husband to lose the entitled attitude and do crap for himself? Just recently my husband, 31, was promoted to assistant manager of the warehouse. We both work on the ups of 50 hours a week. I'm shift manager at a behavioral disorders facility. Both jobs are very hands-on and strenuous. Since his promotion he has developed an entirely different attitude. Extremely entitled and dare I say rude as a duck. He is always boasting and bragging. This has been going on for 3 weeks. So, some examples are as followed. On his days off he wants the house to be radio silent. If our young child wants to play, he tells her to stick to her bedroom because he needs peace and quiet after working so hard. If I make our daughter lunch, he will immediately say where's mine. He asks me to grab him things damn near constant all hours of the night. He expects nightly back rubs, but if I ask he will scoff at me and say I worked all day, even if I had as well. He expects meals that he likes made every night, regardless if me or our daughter like the meal or not. He also now acts like he has full say over the money because he makes more. Last night was the tip of the iceberg for me. Before this I let a lot of crap slide because it was a recent promotion and hell, he's excited. So, I get it. But last night around like 11 PM, I was in bed scrolling through my phone. He comes into the bedroom, lays down and says babe you should go make me some ice cream. I want the chocolate drizzle on it. And oh, don't forget the cashews. Then he starts scrolling through his phone. I ignore it, because I feel at this point I was going to snap. He then shook my leg and said did you hear me? So I responded with yeah. I did hear you and no. Go make it yourself. You were literally just out there. Your sense of ducking entitlement is way out of line. Do crap for yourself. He became offended and instantly, like ducking clockwork, said but I worked all ducking day. So I snapped back with yeah, I did too. In fact, I worked 12 hours to your 8. Like I said, do crap for yourself. He is now saying that he is not acting entitled and that I was just taking my bad day out on him and that everything I said makes him feel unappreciated. Am I wrong? Did I push it too far? Am I wrong for reporting another woman for sexual comments she made and getting her banned from our gym? I have been back to the gym now that we are 0 cases in my area. I have been a member of this gym for over 3 years and I regularly work out with 2 other women. One of the women recently brought along her friend who is new to the area. The 4 of us worked out together and everything seemed fine. The problem started when we got into the change room. The women's change rooms are open with one section of lockers and benches and one section for showers. The toilets are a completely different room not accessible by the change room. This layout leaves very little privacy. The showers are all just against a wall with no curtain. This leads to seeing a lot of nude or half-dressed women. We all went into the change room together, and the new woman immediately made some uncomfortable comments. The first thing she said was I feel like I died and gone to heaven, referencing the undressed state of women in the room. I always shower after a workout, but the other two women live close to the gym and usually don't. I went to shower when the others stayed in the change area. Because it's such a small and open space, even in the showers you can hear them talking in the change room. As I showered I hear that the new woman was making comments about my body. I heard her say she has my favorite body, flat beep and a fat beep. Try calling her name. I want her to turn around so I can see her beep. I was facing towards the shower head. The other two women were laughing and encouraging her comments. I have left out the more innocuous ones due to character limit on the post. I stayed in the shower until they left. On my way out I stopped by the front desk and asked if I could make a complaint. They took me to the back office and I told the manager, whom I know well, what had happened. She was understanding and told me that the woman would have her brand new membership revoked as her comments broke several of the gym rules. I got a text from one of the women the next day telling me that her friend had gotten her membership cancelled and was wondering if I knew anything. I was honest and told her that I heard what she had said while I was in the shower and had reported her. I was called immediately and she seemed both angry and confused. She told me that the girl had just been joking around, that the comments were just to them and I wasn't meant to hear them. She also called me a stuck-up homophobic witch. The other woman also sent me a long message about how disappointed she was in me and she didn't think that I was one of those. She said in her message that I should have come to them before reporting to the gym and the fact I didn't said a lot about my character. The messages really have made me feel terrible. I feel like I've done something wrong. Was I the butthole here? TLDR. Reported a woman for comments made about my body. Am I wrong for not being inspirational or positively expressive or ringing the little cancer-free bell after I was declared cancer-free? The last 4 years of my life were a living hell. Needles, poison, vomiting, pain, fatigue, and all that crap from radiation and chemo. I hated every minute of it. A week ago I went to my appointment and was declared cancer-free. On my way out one of the nurses said I should ring the bell they have for cancer-free patients. It's a loud bell in the middle of the hall that all the patients getting treatment can hear. Well, because I wanted to put this behind me as soon as I could, I declined with a simple no thank you and proceeded to gather my stuff and leave. The nurse was a bit persistent, saying it will make me feel better and it inspires the other patients. I declined again, but now one of the patients who overheard chimed in and said it's an amazing thing to ring that bell and how she rang it once, and once the new cancer is gone she will ring it again. I was getting more irritated but kept declining until the patient grabbed my wrist to try and stop me from leaving, and that pushed me over the edge. I ended up shouting, I don't want to ring the damn bell. It won't change a damn thing about the pure hell I endured during this cancer crap, and you are living proof that cancer-free means nothing because you are here dealing with it all over again. Now get out of my way. I walked away at that and just left. A few days later my doctor called me for a medical reason but mentioned the incident. He said that the patients heard and a few of them were children who were already scared by the treatment they were getting. I explained what the situation was and I apologized for my outburst and for bothering the patients, but I didn't want to be there anymore and they weren't letting me leave. I feel bad for yelling, but not for what I said. I have no optimistic outlook that I won't end up there again, and I want to spend as much time away from there as I can because I lost a lot of my life to that treatment center. Am I wrong for refusing to play along with their bell thing? Am I wrong for telling my daughter that I've told her many times to lose weight? My daughter was rushed to the hospital because of a heart attack. She's back home now, but all she does all day is complain about how her medical bills are wiping her out and about how she doesn't want to work because her joints ache. She continues asking me to come over and take care of her cats, and yet at the same time she refuses to better her health by doing stuff like eating healthy. She's average to slightly above average height but weighs more than a lot of men. Yesterday when she was complaining about how her doctors refuse to prioritize her, I reminded her that I've told her over and over that she was driving up her cholesterol eating nothing but fast food, and now she's in this situation because of her eating. She ended up throwing a remarkable tantrum for a middle-aged woman and started saying I had no sympathy and how toxic I was. Am I wrong?